Have you ever wondered how the Israel-US alliance, a relationship that shapes the geopolitical landscape, came to be? Our story begins in the mid-20th century. The world was reshaping itself in the aftermath of the Second World War, and amidst this reshaping, two nations found common ground. The United States, a well-established democracy with a vision of a free world, and Israel, a newborn state yearning for survival and recognition. Their alliance was not merely a matter of convenience. It was rooted in shared democratic values. Both nations held firm beliefs in the principles of liberty, equality, and justice. They shared a vision of a world where these values reigned supreme and sought to preserve and foster these principles where they could. But shared democratic values were just the beginning. The alliance between the United States and Israel was also driven by strategic interests. The mid-20th century was a time of profound global shifts. The Cold War was brewing, and the world was gradually dividing into two major camps. In this era of intense geopolitical rivalry, the United States saw in Israel a critical ally against Soviet influence in the Middle East. Israel, situated at the heart of the Middle East, was a strategic bulwark against the spread of communism. The United States, keen on curbing Soviet expansion, found in Israel a willing and able partner. Their partnership was not just symbolic, it was strategic, practical, and deeply rooted in the realities of the time. As the Cold War intensified, so did the alliance between the United States and Israel. It deepened, strengthened, and evolved. It was an alliance that went beyond mere diplomatic niceties. It was a relationship that would come to shape the course of history and the geopolitical landscape of the world. Thus, from shared values to strategic interests, the Israel-US relationship was born. This alliance, complex and enduring, would continue to evolve, facing challenges and controversies, but remaining a significant factor in global politics. But the alliance wasn't always smooth sailing. Do you know about the tensions that once strained this powerful relationship? The year was 1973. The date, October 6th, a day etched in the annals of history as the start of the Yom Kippur War. Israel, caught off guard on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, faced a coalition of Arab states led by Egypt and Syria. As the battle raged on, the United States watched from a distance, a silent spectator to the unfolding drama. This wasn't just any conflict. The Yom Kippur War was a turning point, a moment of tension that tested the mettle of the US-Israel alliance. The United States, gripped by the Cold War, was forced to juggle its strategic interests in the Middle East. Israel, on the other hand, was fighting for its survival, its very existence at stake. The situation was indeed dire. However, despite the friction, the United States did not turn its back on its ally. The Nixon administration, recognizing the strategic importance of Israel in the Cold War chessboard, decided to throw its weight behind the embattled nation. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was a necessary one. The United States provided Israel with much-needed military aid, a lifeline in the midst of the conflict. This support wasn't purely military. The United States also extended diplomatic support to Israel, leveraging its influence in the United Nations and other international platforms to shield Israel from global condemnation. This diplomatic backing was instrumental in ensuring Israel's survival during those turbulent times. The Yom Kippur War was a crucible, a severe test that strained the US-Israel alliance, yet it also underscored the resilience of this partnership. Despite the tensions and the high stakes, the alliance weathered the storm. The United States stood by Israel, reinforcing the bond between the two nations. Even in the face of challenges, the alliance between the US and Israel proved to be enduring. The rocky road, it seems, only served to strengthen the ties that bind these two nations together. Every alliance has its critics. So what are the criticisms of the Israel-US relationship? The Israel-US alliance, while strategic and enduring, has not been exempt from criticism. High on the list of critiques is the claim that this alliance exacerbates conflict in the Middle East, particularly the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Critics argue that the US support for Israel, especially its military aid, contributes to a lopsided power dynamic, fueling tensions and potentially hindering peace efforts. This alliance has also been implicated in the continuation of the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories. Critics contend that US backing emboldens Israeli policies of expansion and settlement, which are widely viewed as contravening international law. The question of whether or not the alliance inadvertently perpetuates a cycle of violence and conflict is a subject of heated debate. Beyond the geopolitical arena, the alliance has faced criticism on the grounds of human rights. Detractors point out that U.S. support for Israel appears to overlook the human rights concerns linked to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Issues such as the treatment of Palestinian civilians, the use of administrative detention, and the impact of the separation barrier on Palestinian communities are often highlighted. Critics argue that the U.S., in its role as a global leader, should use its influence to advocate for human rights and justice, rather than seemingly condoning controversial practices. However, it's crucial to note that these criticisms are part of a complex and multifaceted conversation. Supporters of the alliance argue that Israel's security situation necessitates certain actions, and that the U.S. support is essential in ensuring Israel's survival in a volatile region. Regardless of where one stands on these issues, it's clear that the Israel-U.S. relationship is not a simple black-and-white narrative, but rather a complex tapestry of strategic interests, political calculations, and deeply rooted historical ties. In spite of the benefits, the relationship between Israel and the U.S. has not been without its share of controversy. With changing times, come changing policies. How has the Israel-U.S. relationship evolved in recent years? The past few years have seen a roller coaster of diplomatic developments between the United States and Israel, reflecting the ever-changing nature of this powerful alliance. In the first 2 decades of the 21st century, the relationship experienced both warmth and chills, depending largely on the individuals occupying the Oval Office and the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem. Under the administration of President Barack Obama, relations became somewhat frosty, largely due to disagreements over the Iran nuclear deal and Israeli settlement expansion. However, it's important to note that during this period, the United States signed a 10-year military aid agreement with Israel, the largest of its kind in American history, underscoring the enduring strategic partnership between the two nations. Then came the Trump era, which saw a dramatic shift in U.S. policy towards Israel. President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, moved the American embassy there from Tel Aviv, and acknowledged Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. These moves were hailed by the Israeli government but sparked controversy worldwide. Fast forward to the present, under the Biden administration, the approach seems to be one of careful balance. The United States has reaffirmed its commitment to Israel's security while also emphasizing the importance of human rights and a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. These shifts in policy expose the ongoing complexities of the U.S.-Israel alliance, influenced by a myriad of factors including domestic politics, regional security concerns, and global diplomatic considerations. The relationship is far from static, and as administrations change, so too do the policies and priorities. But through all the changes, one thing remains clear. The U.S.-Israel alliance continues to be a cornerstone of American foreign policy in the Middle East. As the world evolves, so too does the intricate dance of diplomacy between the U.S. and Israel. So, what have we learned about the Israel-U.S. relationship? Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've taken together, to understand this complex and enduring alliance. Our exploration began in the mid-20th century, with the birth of a partnership rooted in shared democratic values and strategic interests. These were the foundational pillars that brought the United States and Israel together, setting the stage for a relationship that would deepen in the face of global challenges. The Cold War era served as a pivotal time for the alliance, as the United States saw Israel as a vital ally against Soviet influence in the Middle East. This period of geopolitical tension cemented the relationship, transforming it from a partnership of convenience into an integral part of American foreign policy. But this alliance has not been without its trials. The Yom Kippur War of 1973 brought tensions to the surface, testing the strength of the bond between these two nations. Yet even when faced with adversity, the partnership persisted, demonstrating its resilience and adaptability. We also delved into the controversies that have surrounded this alliance. The criticisms, primarily centered around the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and human rights concerns, have sparked intense debates about the role of the United States in the region. These controversies serve as crucial reminders of the complexities inherent in international relations. Our journey concluded with a look at the recent diplomatic developments, highlighting the shifts in policy under different U.S. administrations. These changes reflect the evolving nature of the alliance, and the ongoing challenges it faces in a rapidly changing world. The Israel-US relationship, then, is a complex and enduring alliance, one that will continue to shape the geopolitical landscape in years to come. The history we've explored today is a testament to this. While the future of this alliance is uncertain, it's clear that the bond between Israel and the United States is deeply woven into the fabric of their shared histories and will undoubtedly play a significant role in the unfolding narrative of global politics.